Hi, Caesar. This is Mother Eagle. Wow, this is a deep question. Why do you lose hope sometimes in the things you do? And it made me think about my own journey while I was starting my business, the times I lost hope and what brought that on. So I'll just share some of my things that happened to me, and maybe they may be similar to you, and I'll also tell you what I did to overcome the some of the to overcome the part of losing hope. For me, the major thing was my mindset. My mindset, the expectation, fear of success, fear of the unknown. I had an expectation of how things should be. For example, my mindset, it wasn't ready to handle any kind of business. So I had an employee mindset. I held a job for almost 10 years, and it's a different mindset than when you have something on your own. So I had to retrain my mind to think as an employer, to be able to handle my own business. Then when it comes to fear of success, I don't even know where that came from. But subconsciously, if you've never known success, you start to even reject it, because success will come with responsibility, will come with risk. It will come with so many things, and sometimes we are just not equipped. So we are in all this fear. What if your project actually works? And from zero, you end up having to hire maybe 10 people or 100 people. Can you handle that? All of a sudden, all the skills you don't have start to highlight themselves. All your weaknesses start to be exaggerated in the midst of the thought that, oh my God, you're going to be successful. And yet, when you actually think it through very well, without fear, there are solutions to all these things that appear as fear. So I was so afraid of the unknown. I love the predictability of having just a normal job. So the fear that I have to know where my next check is coming from, it was a big deal. And then the expectation, that maybe in a year your business has to be here, in 2 years your business has to be here. But what I learned was I was creating something new, something different. I remember when I created my first course, I completed it before I knew where to sell it, because it was a video course and I didn't know anyone teaching on video at that time. But I created it anyway because I had a burning desire. And around a month after I created it, and I was sitting around and asking, what am I going to do with this thing that I've spent weeks creating? I get a phone call from someone random from YouTube. They had seen one of my sample videos and they were asking if I had more of those. Oh my God, I was so excited. And my point is, you may be creating something new. So your expectation needs to be more fluid. Go rolling with the flow. The normal stuff may not be working for you. I always like to use the example of when you're driving a long distance, you keep changing the steering just enough to stay on track. So you'll need course correction as you're going. And yes, the the loss of hope is usually when you focus a lot of the things you cannot do versus focusing on the things you can do. I know for me it was a process of convincing myself every time. Every so often I would get into a funky mood like, oh my God, what am I even doing? Am I wasting time? Then I always remember, why am I doing this? I wanted to unleash a generation of purpose-driven individuals, like unleash, trigger, and excite, and steer everyone who comes near me to see their greatness within them. So the desire is bigger than me. So, sis, I want to encourage you right now. Your desire for that thing you're doing, that project, it's bigger than you. It's to serve more than you. And remember, there is a ripple effect. You may think you're serving only a few people, but those people, when they benefit, they go on and serve others. They go on and maybe provide for their family. It's, for example, in your project, if you decide to hire someone, that may be a lady, she may have 3 children. That paycheck you're giving her, she goes and feeds her 3 children, takes them to school. Then the ripple effect begins. So this is way bigger than you. And remember, you have support. You're not alone. The one who sent you, God Himself, is with you, guiding you and protecting you and showing you the way. So I know there are times I felt alone in while I was building my business, but I always remembered that I'm not alone. I was sent by someone, and that someone is good and He's big enough. So don't lose hope. And another thing that helped me with the fear was I always made this list. Actually, I learned this technique from the guy who wrote the 4-Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss. He wrote the 4-Hour Work Week. He uses this technique for fear. So you get a piece of paper and a pen and put advantages and disadvantages. I did this mostly for success. What are the advantages if I get successful? I put those down. What are the disadvantages if I get successful? Because usually that's the column for fear. Then you realize, I'll be fine. But when you create this list, you have to look at it again and again. I know for myself, I had to look at it again and again and again until at some point I settled in my heart that there is no need to lose hope. If you change, if time will come, you need to change direction. That should be okay. You'll get inspired action to do something different. That should be okay. And there is support. You're not alone. Not only support from God, but support from people. So they are angels amongst us who come and hold your hand. Just at that point when you're almost giving up, someone shows up and they say something and your fire is ignited again. So don't lose hope. Keep the eye on the ball. You're doing a great work. Just the courage to step out and do something. That is awesome. As always, this is Keroy, aka Mother Eagle. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.